All right, welcome in everybody. I have another really exciting interview with an awesome dog trainer today. I got my client Aiden from Shaman's Way Dog Training, and Aiden and I have been working together for quite a while now, and it's been really cool to watch him grow his business and just like different iterations of it, hiring and just growing. And so now like your business has really exploded over the last like 60 days here, but just some different changes we've made and stuff like that. So. Before we jump into all of that, Aiden, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself, telling everybody who you are and kind of how you got started in the dog training world?
Sure. I'm Aiden Sprung. I opened up Shaman's Way Dog Training about 2 years ago now. That's when I was rescued by Top Dog. And I started because I had a dog named Shaman who was a hard luck case who came to me biting and fearful and scared. And I thought he was just the dog for me. Long story short, he ended up working for search and rescue for several years and then was my personal service dog for 8 years and then was a therapy dog as his retirement. So I figure if he can do it, the spirit of Shaman, man, any dog can do it. I do positive reinforcement and I just love it. I've been in dog training for over 25 years.
So cool, dude. And your background is also in teaching as well, right? Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
Actually, yeah, it's really funny. Every time I do an eval, I bring out my binder and they go, "Oh, you're a teacher."
Yeah.
It's got the objective, the behavior modification, the plan, the homework, all of it, and people love that about it.
Yeah.
Everything I do is very customized, just like I would be if I was teaching my kids. I taught elementary for 6 years.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And I can see that all over your business, just the way you conduct yourself, your business and your organization and, how you're so, teaching oriented, if that makes sense. Like a lot of people, I think, really struggle with that. They're like, "Oh, my clients won't do what I'm asking them to do." And I feel like that's something you do extremely well is like find different ways to communicate with people because that's what good teachers do. They don't let that like, hey, half the class is doing well, but the other half is not doing well. It's like maybe I can change some of the things that I do in the classroom to get people more engaged and more involved.
Absolutely.
So like how do you mind talking about that? Like how do you kind of like structure that? Because I feel like you do things a little bit differently than just your average trainer. So when you say you have a binder and all that stuff, like do you mind just breaking that down for people?
Yeah, when I come in, I generally give them kind of the eval of questions, but my questions are a little different than what most dog trainers come in with. I ask the standard behavior questions, obedience questions, but I also ask, how do you learn as an owner? How does your family learn? Who wants to be involved in the training so that I can transform their training sessions into something that works for everybody. I also do a lot with service dogs and behavior dogs, and you have to have everybody on board. So you have to be willing to make that really customized to each human and each dog because every dog learns differently too. It's really important.
For sure. Yeah, that's really well said. And just kind of stating the obvious here, but it's so many times people can focus on just the dog, just always talking about the dog. This is what the dog's doing. This is what we need to get the dog to stop doing. This is what we need to get them to do. This is how we're going to fix the dog's behaviors and stuff like that. And it's a missed opportunity to actually talk about the owner, the human being, who's the one who's actually processing the payment and who that's the person you're actually selling to. You're not actually selling to the dog, So, do you mind talking about that? Because it seems like you get them like really involved, and it seems to me like you make them feel very heard, recognized, and understood just by the way that you kind of frame your questions.
Yeah, so a lot of that is just teaching, but asking them, what do you want from your dog? What are they giving you currently? Teaching them, my big thing is really teaching them how to read a dog and understand what your dog's trying to tell you, and then help your dog understand what you're trying to tell your dog.
Yeah.
I don't call myself a dog trainer when I come up. It actually is canine communication specialist. And that's because that's my goal and that's my focus.
Very cool. So, kind of shifting gears here, what's funny is I remember you and I originally getting connected because you had commented on one of my posts that, in a weird way, kind of went like not viral, but like viral in the sense for like Facebook and a profile and stuff like that. And there was just there, we put up like posts promoting somebody doing really well in their business, and then there were people on there being like, "This couldn't possibly be true. I'm not doing that much in this time of year, and no business actually makes that much money." I think it was our client Marcus who did like 90 or 100K in a month or something crazy like that. But regardless, you commented on it, and we're just kind of like more inquiring, and you and I hopped on a call, and I don't think we worked together right away. I think you and I had a conversation about your pricing and programs. And then a little bit further down the road, I talked to you again, and you were like, "Hey, I implemented all that stuff. It worked really well. I want to talk to you more about advertising." So that was my side of the story. So why don't you tell yours and just kind of talk about like, what it was like before you started working with us, how you got plugged in, and yeah, just like what it's been like after starting with us.
Well, relying on other people to get your business going doesn't work. Posting a couple of things on Facebook, Instagram, it doesn't work. You have to have a team behind you, and you can't learn it all.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I tried, and
Yeah.
it just drove me crazy. You just have to focus on your strengths, and mine is dog training and people training.
Yeah.
Terrible at paperwork, and that's where you guys sort of come in and help with that. And I'm no good at setting up Google. And now I
Yeah.
am number one on Google every time people are finding me number one. So
So awesome, dude. Yeah. I think that's really smart that you just said that. There's this temptation in business when you own your own business that you need to do everything and I need to become a jack of all trades. But there's that saying, jack of all trades and master of none. And I think that's what a lot of people become because they're trying to be the customer service representative. They're trying to be the salesperson. They're trying to be the dog trainer. They're trying to be the teacher. They're trying to be the marketer. And because you have so much on your plate, you feel like you're being productive. You may be feeling productive, but you're not actually being effective. And so like you're doing all these things at like 10%, whereas they all kind of need to be getting done simultaneously at 100%. So do you mind just kind of going a little bit more in depth as far as like what you were trying to do before and like what kind of some of the pitfalls were that you were facing and noticing when you were just kind of like struggling there?
when I was struggling, I was really just trying to throw out whatever I could. I was doing webinar things on Google and Facebook and everything else. I was trying to find a cheaper way. I was trying to figure out how to stay afloat without getting loans or anything like that because
Yeah,
it's not my thing. Um, and you have to let somebody who knows what they're doing do it.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's no different than getting or having a dog that's misbehaving and then just saying like I'll figure it all out myself. It's like, well, you have a job, you have a family, you have a vacation coming up, you have elderly parents you're taking care of, like all these different things that are going on in your life. Could you figure out how to train your dog given enough time and enough YouTube videos or buying courses or, consultations with people and trying to like poach information and stuff like that? Probably. You could probably make some progress, but the question is always, how long is that going to take you? Like how long do you want to stay stuck for with a dog that is really upsetting you and your family on a daily basis? And this is the same thing with running a dog training business that I heard somebody say this recently. Somebody I'm in a coaching program, and one of the coaches said this that when he sells people, he'll tell people like straight up, given enough time, you could figure this out. You could figure out how to sell really well. You could figure out how to market yourself given enough time. But the question you got to ask yourself is how much time is that going to take you? Is that going to take you a decade? If it's going to take you a decade, think about all the money and all the opportunity and all just the lost growth in time that you're going to have during that period because you were just trying to figure it out yourself and save a couple bucks.
Absolutely. Actually, case in point, one of the clients I met the other day who recently signed on was saying, I've looked at every YouTube video. I have tried everything I have ever seen. I said, here's the problem and the difference between having a trainer and having a YouTube video. You can look at the YouTube video, but it's not going to talk back to you. You can put a comment in there and you might hear back on that comment by 30 other people who don't know what they're talking about and
Yeah,
one who maybe does, and you don't know which is which. So you're
exactly.
going to frustrate yourself. And that was actually the selling point where he said, you know what? How much do you want? I'll pay it. Let's do it. And he's
Dude,
all on board.
that is so well said. Yeah. Yeah, you don't know what, it's such a good point. You don't know what is the truth and what's not because you have zero basis for anything. You don't know where to even begin. You're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall just to see what sticks, you know? Yeah, it's a mistake I see a lot of different people make in their business is just trying to do way too much themselves. And there's a time and a place for that. Like I think that, you and I even before this call started, talking about QuickBooks and just different things like that. It's like, are there things that you should have a fundamental understanding of? Of course. And as you and I have worked together, like we've had many a conversation about, hey, what the Google Ads strategy is going to be. And you can have an understanding, okay, they're doing this. This is a new landing page. This is a new campaign that's running, but you don't need to necessarily know the nitty gritty of like what a click-through rate is and what impression share is and conversion rate and using ta Google Tag Manager versus built-in tags in Google Ads. Like all that stuff is like that's why I'm paying somebody to do it. Just give me like a roadmap here and just tell me what to do, and that way you can take care of the rest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. So like something that we kind of touched on sales a little bit before and how you kind of nurture people, but do you mind just kind of sharing with everybody? Because I think this is something you're very, very good at is communicating and getting people to say yes. Do you mind kind of telling people about just how you sell and what your philosophy is? And just like from the time that a new lead comes in all the way up through the time that they become a client where they sign on the dotted line, like how do you do all that? How does all that work for you?
I mean, when people a new call comes in, I try to answer it. Sometimes I can't answer it. I always make sure that my message, if it has to be a message, is one that is connected to the person. So it has their name in it. It might have their dog's name in it. It will have the problem that they called about if they've left that in there. And then I always give them a link to my calendar. Hey, I'm busy at the moment, but sign up for this and then let me know when I can call you to
Mm,
answer a quick question here or there. And they tend to appreciate that. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. But generally, they will go ahead and sign on. Then
mm,
I'll write them a quick email. Hey, I saw you signed up for Friday at 4. That's great. I can't wait to meet you and Fluffy, etc. So it's a personal experience. Then I have the eval and I call it the transformation evaluation. And I come up there. I don't charge for that. I feel like it's important for people to be able to meet you and meet
hmm.
you where you're at rather than, okay, well, I paid you $50. Are you going to fix it or not? And they don't
Exactly.
tend to ask for all the training tips right then when I don't charge.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, let's stay on that for a second. So two things actually. First thing that I think you do extremely well is the nurturing doesn't just abruptly end when they say, yes, I will meet with you. Like that's a mistake a lot of people make is like, yeah, let's set up a consultation for Friday. Okay, cool. See you then. Right. That works. And that's how 99% of people do it. But just even that small, extra touch point of you saying, like, hey, I saw you signed up, or hey, I'm really, we spoke on the phone. Really looking forward to seeing you and, like you said, Fluffy on Friday. Can't wait to meet with you guys. That's just like that small extra customer service step that people are like, no one does that. I can't believe this person just like a nice welcoming email hit my inbox. Like people love stuff like that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is not charging for your evals. I've never even really thought of it the way that you just described it, but I think that's really, really intelligent. So yeah, I think when you attach a price tag to anything, all of a sudden, there's expectations. Hey, I paid you money. Like, what are we getting out of this? Versus like, I feel like you kind of maintain more of the control when it's, hey, I'm giving you my time. I'm seeing if you guys are a good fit for us and if we're a good fit for you. So let's kind of actually do an evaluation here, not like you paid me $50. Like, this better be a training session. I better take something away from this? Yeah, I think that's really well said. So, how do you conduct those transformation sessions?
so I've got an iPad with a list of questions on it. People really find it very professional looking when you have an iPad and you can just
Yeah.
type in the answers that you're asking questions to. It gives them a chance to also, I'll show them an example of the program that they're interested in. I'll be like, okay, so this is so and so's program. It's going to be different from your program because everything is customized. But let me show you how I write it out, what it sort of looks like. And that's where we get into, oh, you're a teacher. I can tell. Yes, I am. And that really chimes with them, especially if
Yeah.
they have kids. And they're like, oh, you
Yes.
better listen. Our teachers are here, blah, blah, blah. It's super cute, but it definitely brings it on a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I can tell them things like, you know what, this guy showed up, he taught us stuff. I have no idea what he did that day, but they have it in writing. So they've got the whole thing written out and they can go back and be like, oh yeah, we worked on sit and stay and whatever, and
Hmm.
then they can do it. They love that.
Yeah.
But that
That's
they see it and that you're professional.
yes. Yeah, and just that, like that's a little nuanced thing too. Bringing an iPad. That just makes you look like you're living in 2025, you know? When you show up and you have no sort of paperwork, you have no binder, and you show up like not wearing a company t-shirt in an unmarked vehicle, like you can get away with not having some of that stuff, like not having the company vehicle or, showing up and you're wearing a nice button-down shirt or something like that. But like you can't do none of this stuff, Like I'll never forget one of our clients, Lucas. I was talking to him about this, and he's like, not only that, but like the amount of people out there that show up to do a consultation and they got like dog shit on them or they're covered in all this hair. And he's like, that may be normal to you in your world, but like you walk into somebody's house like that, um, it's just people are going to notice that. And first impressions do matter? So I think just like living in 2025, having like an iPad just makes you just seem very professional. And all of these things are business expenses. All of these things, like you write them off, and it's just less tax you need to pay at the end of the year. It's obviously an oversimplification, but it is less tax that you need to pay at the end of the year because you're investing in the business. So think about, for anybody who's listened to this, like perception is everything, especially the first time you're meeting somebody. So, like, how do you want to be perceived? How can you be perceived in the best manner possible? Because if you're not and you're walking in and the perception about you right off the bat is negative, all you have is an uphill battle to start. And you got to convince them that you're a professional versus leading with that. And then just everything on top of that is just gravy on top, where they're more and more impressed by everything that you say.
There's three things I do for every Evo. A, I've always got an extra shirt in my truck, just
Yep.
in case something like that happens.
Yeah.
But B, when you walk in, I always try to find three good points, especially if there's a lot of chaos and they're apologizing and oh, it's such a mess. I'll say, oh my gosh, I love that piece of art on the wall. Are you the artist? Did you do that? Or I love, how your kids are really paying attention. Can we bring them to the family table? I always ask them, can we sit at your family table so that now it is a family affair rather than just one on one or asking them to take the kids out or something like that.
Yep.
And then the third one is just making sure at the end that I thank them for their time.
Yes.
Thank you for having me in your home. Thank you for entrusting me to come in, explain this to you, and I can't wait to work with you.
Yeah, dude, that is so well said. Everything you did there is like money to me? It's not about us in the sense of like they shouldn't it shouldn't be like they're grateful to have my time. Like in a way, yeah, like this is a two-way relationship, right? Where like we're helping them, they're helping us. But at the end of the day, so many times it's a missed opportunity where they're thankful to you and you never reciprocate, right? So you never say like, "Hey, thank you. Like, thanks for having me over. Appreciate you like calling us. Appreciate you choosing us." I can't tell you the amount of people that I feel like never thank their clients. They never send them a welcome gift. They never send them like a thank you card or something around the holidays or something like that. Little things like that like maybe in your mind like, "Oh, that costs money. I'm not sure if I want to do that." That is the difference between somebody having a world-class experience and being mind blown by it and just feeling they need to tell everybody about you versus being like, yeah, it was okay. Our dog's trained, but yeah, it was okay. You know?
The other thing I'll add to it is on my business cards, it says, like share this with your friends, family, and that naughty neighbor down the street. And they
Yeah.
always read it and they're like, oh my God, I need three more of those. I have so many naughty neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, people will love to go out and like evangelize about your business if you do a good job for them. And again, going right back to perception, doing a good job isn't always enough. Sometimes it's really about how they feel. Like we're all emotional creatures, and if you just like do a good job and you're fun to be around, and then you do all this other stuff that makes them feel all warm and fuzzy, I can't believe he thought to send me that card. I can't believe that he gifted me that thing or whatever it is. That's the type of stuff that's going to make you feel like or make them feel like anytime dog training gets brought up, they're going to be like, no, 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 you need to use Aiden. Like, it's not even a question like that is the person you need to work with? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit more about just like your transformation with us. So when you started, I know you touched on this a little bit. you were kind of like, doing different things, webinars, posting to social media. What did your revenue look like on a monthly basis, like at that time? Like, do you mind sharing that with everybody?
I didn't have a lot of one. I was
Yeah.
putting a lot of my own money in. I was trying to beef up my own place, set up a classroom kind of thing. I didn't have a lot coming in.
Yeah. And let's talk about like the last like 60 days here. So we got a really cool new like marketing strategy in place for you. It's crushing beyond belief. And so do you mind just kind of like talking about that and what revenue looks like and just business overall the last like 30, 60 days?
So yeah, as we before we started, I said, yeah, I'm working on my budget because I actually need to do that now.
Yeah.
But at this point, a lot of my I've got, let's see, 17 clients that are solid paying, and about seven of them are service dogs. So next 3 months will be well over 50K.
Yeah.
Um,
In 90 days, you're talking about like making over 50K. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody's salary, like a lot of people's salary, making that in a 90-day period is insane, dude. Yeah. How's that feel, man? I mean, I just like it's crazy because when you're the one doing it, it's very easy to be like, okay, cool, that happened, on to the next thing. But like, have you taken the time to like kind of just like sit in that for a second and go like, that is mind blowing that that's happening right now?
it's absolutely mind blowing. In my own salary stuff, or not salary, but in my own pay, I can finally have a savings account once I
Yeah.
started working for me and not for others.
Yeah.
Now it's to the point where I'm starting to invest it even, and that's just feels amazing.
Yeah, that's so cool, dude. And I want to note too that you are not doing board and trains. You're
No.
doing private lessons.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is even more insane because I think a lot of people out there are doing $50, $75 sessions and stuff like that. Or even if they're selling 100 or $200, they're like, that's insane. How are you making that many sales? But you're selling results-based programs, and you've made some really cool changes over the last couple months just based off stuff that I know you've talked to me and Angel about, and like people needing to buy programs versus being able to pay per session and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean that's really unique. There's not a lot of people I think out there that are doing that much revenue consistently with private training programs.
As much as I would love to do board and trains, I don't have the space.
Yeah,
So until I can actually get a brick and mortar kind of idea, which may come down the road, it may not. We'll see. But I really love the one on one. And a lot
yeah,
of my revenue comes from service dogs, therapy dogs, and behavior aggression cases. So I've
mhm,
upped my education to build that value so that people feel like, you know what, I can pay that. That's worth it to me to keep my family together. Or that's worth
exactly.
it to me to give me my freedom back for
Mhm.
service. And it's about building connections, which I don't like doing, but I do it.
Wait, hold on. Talk about that a little bit. Like, are you just saying that just because you're like a fairly introverted person, or what do you mean by that?
Right. I
Yeah,
feel pretty introverted in general, and it's
yeah,
something that I've had to learn as a skill.
yeah.
And getting together with Mount Carmel was
Mm,
amazing, and they still promote me a little bit here and there. I tried to do a class with them, it fell through, but I've tried to keep up appearances and show up and see how they're doing. The other thing that I'm starting actually is my stride and serve. So stride and serve is where we're just doing pack walks, really, and they're paying their fees to local like 5Ks, fun runs, stuff like that. But we're getting together as a pack and people are buying the shirts, and I'm getting some advertising. They're getting some training while they walk to work with their dogs.
yep.
And I think it's going to be a really cool thing. I think it's going to bring in some new ideas.
That is really cool. But yeah, and just to go back to what you were saying before about the whole introverted thing, like I want to hear more from you on that actually, because I think that there's a lot of people out there who just kind of throw their hands up in the air and they say, "What can I do? I'm an introvert. There's nothing I can do about that." And so like that's why I'm not selling. That's why I'm not getting client results because they don't listen to me, but I feel like I don't know how to clearly articulate or communicate with them. It's a
Go in.
skill, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Go in with a mission.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I did, I was trying to promote service dog training for veterans because I'm in Colorado Springs and I think we have six installations of military now, maybe
Yeah.
more. And we have a lot of veterans and a lot of PTSD. So what I did was I went on our friendly chat GPT and searched all the veteran owned bars. And so I
Okay.
took in a flyer to these bars and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how I can help your patrons. And I really appreciate that you have this bar for and you're veteran owned.
Hmm.
So they took that, and I didn't have to have a long conversation with them. We shared a beer, and I kept going. And it was great. And I
Yeah.
made a lot of friends through that. And they've invited me, like, hey, if you have service dogs in training, bring them in or encourage them to come to my place, which is great because then you know they're keeping your cards and they're keeping you in their thoughts.
Exactly. And it's a win-win for them. Like people love dogs and like that could bring in more people to have drinks and stuff like that. So it could be good for their business too?
The other one is bringing in, I got Dunkin' Donuts. They will let you put your own logo on their cards. They're like gift cards. So I put my logo on it and said, thank you, vets, and put like, I don't know, just enough money for them to get a couple things of donuts for their crew. Took it in, explained who I was, that I was there to help dogs and wanted to work with the vets, and then gave them that. And all of a sudden, I got a couple referrals. So it's a small thing. It's a pretty easy thing to do. But if you have a mission, you don't have to stay very long.
Wait, that's so cool. I'm not even aware of this. So do you mind just explaining that a little more? So you're saying you can go to Dunkin' Donuts and are you putting the Shaman's Way logo or are you putting the or somebody else's logo on it?
Shaman's way.
So you put your logo and then you gift that to somebody and it's like, hey, go get a couple donuts on me. Wow.
Absolutely. It
Yeah,
is
that's
a
really
much
smart.
better plan than trying to buy the donuts for them with gluten free. We don't like this. I don't like that. You're wasting. Don't
I can't
waste.
be like worried about your nut allergy. I don't know about that.
It's much easier because then I
Yeah.
can set up my chat GPT to set me up a route to go to these vets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then go home. And I've
Yeah.
done a thing, and it works most of the time.
That is really smart. So anybody listening to this, like I think that's a brilliant idea. So yeah, because I think that the traditional thing that people do is they go buy the box of donuts, walk in, hey, I just want to give, and that works too. That's really cool because that way, like, they don't need to go get the donuts. But I just think that that's easy because you can go and get 20 cards, and have your logo on it and stuff like that, and just go give it out. And yeah, listen, I think a lot of times people feel so uncomfortable walking into groomers, vets, daycare centers, whatever it may be because they know at the end of the day what they're doing is there's an ask. You're asking them to send you business. It softens the blow and it makes it so much easier for you if you go in there with the mentality of I'm going to give you something. Hey, I spent money on this. This is for you guys. I'm not even asking for anything in return. And by doing that, your marketing is going to be so much more effective. People don't like being sold to right out the gate. They don't like being asked for something right out the gate. If you go and give, they're going to want to give back to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing too, just to touch on that topic, just like the mindset around this. I'm sure the first time you did it, you were nervous when you were walking in there and your heart was pounding through your chest. What are they going to say to me? What if I fumble over my words? What if I say something really silly or something like that? But the most important thing is you did it and you do it? So do you mind kind of talking about that and just kind of like how you get yourself to a state where you can like go and do stuff like that?
Yeah, once you hold up a card, they are all smiles. They're like, "Oh, what is this? What are you giving me?"
Yeah.
And then that opens to, "Hey, I know you guys are busy. I just wanted to drop these off. Would you mind me leaving some cards with you? If you guys have questions, please reach out. Let me know. How can I help you?" And
Mm.
all of a sudden, it's, "Oh, you're not here to ask me to do something. It's, how can you help us?" Oh, do you ever come in and talk to groups? Yes, I do, actually. I'd love to talk to you about this. Let's set it up.
Yeah.
But then it allows you to get in, get out, move on, and gives them something to connect to. The other one, I can't remember if it was you who said it or somebody else, is if you send an email to a vet's office or something, always do a video mail.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Just using Loom, right? Recording yourself. Like it's so much more personalized.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Uh,
if you can say like, "Hey, John, I know that you're the head vet or you're the doctor. Just wanted to introduce myself." That's so much better than just like a written email, like insert name here.
yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
personalization goes so much further than just the, I mean, you can go the route of just, quantity and blasting out to every vet's office and stuff like that. But that's just how you end up getting unsubscribed from, or, get a million messages back that just say stop. It just needs to feel personalized. People like to feel like they're being directly spoken to. Yeah. So one last part of your story here that's really interesting. So you've been around the block. Like you've had the opportunity to like work with different like agencies and stuff like that too. So like, not to pat us on the back, but like it seems like right now, like this is like the best like results you've had in your business. So like, do you mind just like kind of sharing your experience a little bit on that? And like we obviously don't need to name names or anything like that, but just kind of like what you found, just generally speaking, what to look out for, what to kind of avoid and stuff like that when people are picking an agency.
Absolutely. That's easy for me. I learned real quick to come back and grovel to get back in. I went somewhere else and with promises of a whole bunch of like professional video stuff and all these other things that I didn't think I was getting.
Yeah,
And they were going to go put me on multiple servers and different things. They didn't. They
yeah,
kept pushing things out, pushing things out. I went a full month without any new clients. And they were like, oh, well, we'll get to it, but you owe us money. And I came back going, please save me, save my business. And you allowed it and took me back. And
yeah.
I've never been happier. Like I said,
Okay.
at this point, I'm top of Google. I have never been top of Google till now.
Yeah,
It just took, some listening and doing some different things with the accounts and where I was advertising and how to get it. I don't know how you guys do your magic, but how to
yeah,
get the right clients coming in. That this other place was just sending me junk. And I was
yeah,
getting people who were like, so I just want to pay like $20. Can you come out and fix the problem? That's
yeah.
great. PetSmart's down the way. And even they're not going to do it for 20.
Yeah,
But it
yeah,
gave me the sense of confidence to come back and rebuild my own professionalism and taught me a valuable lesson of, use what you have. It's a good thing. And try to use everything of it, although I have trouble with that.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm trying to, I'm learning. And just, I don't know, don't, if it looks too good to be true on the other end and they can't prove themselves, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do
Yeah, I
it.
appreciate you sharing that. And like I was so excited when, because I mean, sometimes you do need to go out and you test different things and like that's how you learn, and figure out what the truth is and what's not. And I've certainly, had to do stuff like that in my business and, figure stuff out. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's always this temptation like to have like, there's a new shiny object or something like that, right? Where it's like, wow, this person's saying they can do this, 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 and this. And what I always think about is you don't need 50 different advertising strategies and client acquisition funnels to grow a business. And like you're one person, you're not trying to fill up 50 kennels and trying to keep 10 people fed that all need to pay for their families with the salary they're getting from you. It's like there's a limited amount of spots here. And we have people that make $100,000 and they have a website that looks like it was built by a 2-year-old and they just are crushing on Google Ads because you can all of a sudden diversify too much and be like, I'm doing TikTok ads and I'm doing Instagram ads and I'm doing Google ads and I'm doing whatever else, right? And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, but going back to what we were talking about before, are you being a jack of all trades and master of none? Like, are you feeling like you're being productive because you're doing all this stuff, but you're just being extremely ineffective with all of it because there's not enough money and there's not actually enough attention being placed on any of these things to actually make them work, you know?
Absolutely. And you guys are the same way with customization as I am, which is
Yeah.
another reason that I really appreciate you. I can try to get a hold of you guys most of the time and you answer. When I was trying to get a hold of this other advertising agency, I kept getting AI responses and not human. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, we were out. I'm like, well, then that's what it needs to say.
Yeah.
Not, I'll call
Yeah.
you right back.
Or have somebody that can be in when you're out. You know?
Exactly. It
Yeah.
goes back to what you preach answer your phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's such an interesting kind of like topic too, where you had that experience and we're moving into this day and age where AI is becoming so prevalent and you just realize I don't know. I think from a customer service perspective, I don't know if we're ever going to get fully on board with people being in love with the idea of talking to a machine. Do you know what I mean? Like there may come a day in an age, there will come a day in an age where it will be completely indistinguishable. But at the end of the day, I do think at least right now, we know we're talking AI, we know we're talking to an automated message. It's only programmed enough to be able to answer specific things and not nuanced things that are important to me or you and my specific situation. So when I talk to clients and they're like, "Oh, I just want to have this like chatbot do it," I'm like, they want to talk to a human. Their dog is a living creature. They are a living creature. They want to talk to somebody who has emotions and is not just going to like ruthlessly give a, canned answer to whatever question they have. At least that's my perspective. And I'd love to hear what you have to say about that too.
But it circles back to the I looked at all the videos and I wrote comments, and what do I get? A bunch of blah. I
Yeah.
don't know what's right, what's wrong. And
Hmm.
I say, oh, so you need a human.
Yeah.
Yes, I need someone with experience to fix this issue. Perfect. You got one. Let's go. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's
it's
why.
so easy to sell against that too. I'm
Oh, yeah.
sorry, Aiden, go ahead, man. I cut you off
Oh,
there. What were you saying?
no, I was just saying that's why the video, just looking at videos or just reading things, isn't going to work.
For sure. Yeah. And I just think that if that's the way that you conduct business and people are like, I don't know about this whole, like every time I call like an AI chatbot or something like that, and you get to be the company's like, hey, you call us, you're going to get a real human being, you know? And again, like like you said before, there's instances, I don't want to say like we're up at 3 o'clock in the morning answering phone calls, but we try to do the best we can, like within and our motto in our company is like, try and get a response out at least same day. Like if it's in a group chat with like, all of our client success team, like try and get a message out to that person. If it comes in at 7 o'clock at night, get to them the next morning. But like it's got to be a somewhat reasonable time frame, you know? Yeah.
Yep.
So let me ask you this. Like this is the way I kind of always like to close out these interviews. So if you can kind of put yourself like back in the shoes that you were in, just like when things were slow and you were kind of like dealing with like tons of inconsistency and not knowing where to turn and not knowing what to do. Put yourself back in that person's shoes. Like somebody who's in that situation today, what is the advice? What is the recommendation? Like what would you tell that person?
As like a new dog trainer. Is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
like a dog trainer who's struggling to book out and doesn't know what to do. They're not making sales, they're dealing with the inconsistency, all that stuff.
I would tell them to take a hard look at themselves. What is your personal value, and how are you marketing your personal self? Not so much your business. And figure out, am I underrating myself? And if so, why?
Mm,
If I'm not underrating myself and I'm still not getting business, what's the other problem? What's the other shoe that isn't working?
mm,
Is it marketing? Is it Google? Is it who I'm aiming it at?
yeah,
Is it the area? Figure that out, and then it'll come together. And have a
yeah.
little faith.
That's really well said. Yeah, having faith that if you do the right things over a long enough period of a time, that like it's going to come together and work out.
Absolutely, your faith will build your confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just to put a final point on that too, like once you get like the proof of concept and you know it works and that develops that concept for or that confidence for you, you no longer need to wonder. You no longer need to like you wonder like is this going to work or is it not going to work? Like I know when I do these things, it works. I know when I have consultations lined up, I can sell some of these people. Not everyone's going to buy, but 60, 70, 80% of people, if I can get, to that point or something like that, I can really grow a business off of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
What I have found is if I can get to them at their home, they're gonna buy.
I love that. Yeah, you'll say yes.
Yeah, 80 to 90% will say yes, and that 10% that says not right now, usually call you within the next couple of months and go, I tried X, Y, and Z. It did not work out. Will you take me back? Yes, I
Yeah.
will.
And there's people too that you just flat out don't want to work with. I mean, you and I have had many, not many calls, but a couple calls over the years, like talking about that and you just being like, I had to tell this. I remember there was one woman in particular that you just told her straight up, like, no, here's your stuff back. I'm not working with you.
I took her dog back to her. I had
Yeah.
helped her find her dog, bring her dog home, pick it up from the airport, bring it to her home, and set everything up. And she said, none of that was worth paying for. You just did it out of kindness. And I said, no, here's your bill.
Yeah.
And she said, well, if you drop me, I won't pay it and I won't pay anything else. And I went home, had a long think about it, brought back her dog. That was it. We were done.
Good
I
for
did
you.
not mind dropping that. It was a fairly large account
Yeah.
for my own sanity.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was never going to end well. Like you could have maybe tried to be like, no, you owe me money, pay the bill. But if you do that with somebody, how is that going to end up 30 days from then on out, for there on out? Like it's just going to become even more painful and even more drama trying to get them to do the next phase of whatever you're asking them to do.
Yeah. And she wanted a service dog, and I take that very seriously.
Yeah,
If you're not willing to put in the work, the money, and the time, you don't need a service dog.
exactly.
You don't need me to make you a service dog.
Yeah. Yeah, but this comes back to this is why good marketing and good lead generation matters because if you don't have other people lined up and you're solely reliant on, I need this to work with this person, even though they're a nightmare client, I need the money, I got to pay my bills. That's how you end up in really bad situations. Whereas if you have good marketing, you're like, I don't need your money. I have five other people that want to work with me this week. See you later.
Mhm.
You know,
Absolutely.
like it's all so intimately intertwined like that.
I'm finally at that point where I can do that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes me really happy.
Yeah. And we're not talking about like, only working with the unicorn clients who are perfect. Like you still help people and meet them where they're at and stuff like that. But it's just the nightmare clients. You just want to be able to cut that stuff out of your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
All right,
work
sweet.
with a lot of clients who others have turned down or walked away from and told them, oh, just get rid of the dog. That's the problem. And
Yeah.
now they are best friends with their dog. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. I
mind
mean,
putting if they are.
sometimes you can, just like you can help people and they've been actually just hooked up with bad trainers and it hasn't worked out for them and stuff. So you got to be able to like weed through that. I mean, how do you decide on something like that? Like, what are the red flags for you that you are kind of like, I don't want to work with this person? Like, what are like the top three things that you see that just are clear indicators that this is going to be a nightmare?
Um, their question of trying to divvy out what I'm getting paid for
Okay.
specifically. They will say things like, well, that seems like a lot of money. That's a lot in your pocket, don't you think? And then I know what it's you don't understand anything about business.
Yeah,
That's going through my head. And if that's how they feel about it and that's what they want to focus on, that's not the dog, that's not the situation, that's not the environment. I'll walk away.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
the concern with other people's money is a really fascinating one. Like, why do you need to make that much money? Why do you charge that much money? It's like, this is what we charge as a company. This is the decision that we've come to. This is what we need to do to pay our staff fairly and be profitable and be able to deliver the best service to our customers. And it's none of your business. Really, what it comes down to. It's like that's how it works. That's how the market works. Like you get to decide whether or not you think it's worth it. But don't come to me and start trying to negotiate my worth?
I had one lady come to me and um she was asking about like where does it go? How do you split it up? What's going on? And I went home and went, that's the last conversation I have about that.
Yeah,
It's not worth it.
exactly.
So I'm going to tell him you're getting my education, my experience, and my understanding, and you're going to get a good dog out of it and a good conversation and relationship. That's what you're
Exactly.
getting.
Yeah, for sure. So well said. All right, well, listen, we're coming up on the hour here, so I won't keep you much longer. But I mean, is there anything else that you want to wrap up with? Like anything you just want people to know or anything like that?
I don't know what to say for that.
All right, cool. All right, so well, we can wrap it up here, okay? So I just want to say thank you to you, Aiden. Like you've been such an awesome client for such a long time, and like there's so many cool things to come here. I know you're, getting ready to hire somebody onto your team and stuff like that. So we'll have to do another one of these a little bit further down the road to check in again and stuff. So hang on the call after I stop the recording here because I just want to chat to you with you for a second. But yeah, I mean, I just want to say to anybody who's listening to this, like, thank you guys for listening. If you guys, ever want us to talk about specific topics, or if there's anything in your business that you're struggling with and you kind of want us to talk about that, just leave it in the comments section down below, and we can definitely do that for you. And yeah, I mean, that's it for today. So I appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys all very soon in the next one. See you guys.
See you guys.